welcome back to Right on Four Corners. I'm your host, DelSheree Gladden. I'm an author of over 30 novels and a high school English teacher. And I'm here in the studio, which I don't get to do all that often, with a local writer, Jane Bauer. And we're going to be talking about her book of poetry, Eve, a River Flowing. Jane, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jane Bauer. I am Irish from Ireland, born in London to Irish parents. Moved back to Ireland and did school and life there for a bit. Then my parents returned to England and I spent time there where I finished school, did my A-levels, enjoyed poetry, enjoyed lots of subjects in school, proceeded on to nursing. That was what I was interested in at the time, psychology, nursing, that kind of thing. I did my associate's degree in nursing and nursed there for a while. I nursed in London and in Kent and met my husband. We had our romance and moved then to Germany. I travelled before that, Australia and Asia, collecting thoughts, collecting inspirations, moments, which are dug into these poems. And then I returned to Germany and settled there in the southwest, beautiful southwestern called Rheinland-Pfalz. And there we lived in a small town called Bad Dürkheim, which is a kind of Kurstadt, they call it. It's a beautiful kind of relaxing tourist area. And wandered through the forest there, and we brought our 3 kids up there, and we were there for 15 years. The kids mainly grew up there. Then we had an opportunity to come here as teachers. I'm not a teacher, but my husband is. So we packed our bags and trotted over the ocean and landed here in the beautiful New Mexico. So, and here it all started with writing. Well, continued, but flourished. Yeah.
You've had lots of adventures already.
We've been all over the place. Yeah, I've been all over the place, but Ollie's also, my husband, he's also, been in England and studied there. And our feet have been in many countries. So, yeah. Well, but cool. Here is, beautiful. Beyond belief.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're liking it here. Yeah,
it is really
take a little getting used to.
Yeah. It's great. It's beautiful. Very inspirational for writers. A pot of gold, I think.
This is a strong area for writers, especially the Four Corners in general. I think there's a lot of unique culture and scenery, and it's just a different experience living here than a lot of other places.
Well, we come from I come from the ocean in Ireland, so that's my kind of major inspiration early on was the ocean. And then Germany was that kind of rural, thick foresty, woodland areas. And then coming here was wide open spaces. It's mind-blowing, really. Yeah, these wide open spaces, the desert areas,
Lots of sun. You can see really far.
Wide skies. And you read about it before you come here and you go, that's nice. And then you get here and you go, wow. Words do not capture this really sometimes. Yeah. It's difficult,
I've had friends move here from like the east or somewhere that's very forested.
Yeah.
Like the amount of sky, they've said, takes some getting used to. Like they feel very exposed.
Oh, it's interesting because we had the opposite. We were very kind of cozy for a long time around forest, We get here and it's like space. Wow, you can really you feel very free. It really is a sense of freedom, It really is beautiful. So I think we didn't really need much time to get used to it. It was just like a breath of fresh air, these wide skies. Because we came from very heavy skies, both of us. Yeah, these kind of Irish heavy rain, which is beautiful. But this is the opposite then.
Yeah. I think I would have a hard time in a place that was super rainy.
It is. If you like to be indoors and kind of like a little rabbit, in your little hole, it's nice. But if you like to be outdoors and it's this kind of climate it allows that. It's pretty impressive.
I enjoy this environment. It's nice to go other places and see them. But it's I'm glad to be back in the desert.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Well, now with your book, Eve, a River Flowing, tell us a little bit about what it is and some of the themes that it involves.
Okay. It's difficult to explain, but I'll try. The collections of poems, the poems came one after another as we were living here. And they came as a kind of, if you want, a miscellaneous pile. I wasn't too sure how it would develop. So it started in Germany with the kind of imagery of forest and the medieval kind of heaviness, the beauty medieval in Germany. Then came here and then came the openness and the space. So they kind of came together. And then as I was writing them, I realized it felt like a message or that somebody was somebody was speaking. And then I thought, okay, well, what is it all about really? Yeah. Because you do not necessarily have a concept when you're writing. Yeah. became very obvious to me it was this kind of crisis comfort situation. The female, Eve, she presented herself as Eve, the original woman, looking into our world right now. It was written during COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID. So McCain was really the culture that we're in right now in the West, this kind of crisis of culture. It's also a beautiful culture, but in a difficult place. And then came the beauty of nature, and it was kind of like the crisis. Let's look at that, and let's look at what a remedy could be, this kind of comforting blanket that could give us solace in rocky times. So I kind of split them in half then and kind of put them in the comfort crisis chapters, and in the hope that it would kind of give people some sort of inspiration, a little reflection, a little, just reminding people that we have such beauty in this world, seriously. And it can give us what we need right now, especially when things are apparently chaotic.
Yeah.
Apparently. Maybe not necessarily, but it appears that way.
Yeah, this is an unusual time.
It's a very unusual time to be alive, that's for sure.
We haven't lived through some of the major world events from the past. It's taking some figuring out.
Absolutely.
A lot of people with different viewpoints and strong opinions.
Absolutely. And how do we handle all of this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we just scream at each other?
No.
Or do we find better ways?
Try it. That's why I think the nature element of this book is the kind of grounding, bringing yourself back down to earth so you're calmer, dealing with your issues or problems or whatever you're confronted with if you're in the social media world or day-to-day world on the street or whatever. That this kind of the Eve, the first woman, nature creation can kind of support you on this journey of whatever it is for you right now.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't do poetry. I think I've taken one class in poetry, and I avoided having to take any more in graduate school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's something that when I talk to poets, is interesting to me because it's a much different process than how I write, and it's a different approach. And I don't know how people can put so many thoughts into so few words. I think that's a special talent that I do not have. So did you approach this as I want to put together a book, or you were wanting to put your thoughts down and work through some stuff and then later wanted to do a book?
Yeah, no intention. No, my father writes. My grandfather was a wonderful writer. So it's in the family. My brother is a musician and a wonderful songwriter. I loved poetry in school, but I had issues myself with English because I had dyslexia. So I had an automatic, this is not for me, or this is not my world. I love books though. So when I started writing, it was really... It just came in. Germany, inspiration, the forest, and I had a lot of, I'm quite reflective anyway. So I just had to write something down. Write a diary, okay, and then these just really came in, like a meditation. And I don't necessarily understand what I'm writing at the time when I'm writing. Just write it down. Sort it out later. No, there was no intention originally for a book. It was my father actually said to me, because I gave him my material, and he said, "Ooh, we've got to put something together." So I said, okay, good. Because sometimes it's difficult to assess your own work. I think a lot of people have that. And other people read it and said, okay, my dad is really my main inspiration. So he kind of said, you should really do this. So I said, no, let's put this together and publish it. And it felt in a way it wasn't really about me or ego or anything. It was really just about, sharing it, the thoughts or the inspirations. Because a lot of it is nature-based, and I think a lot of people have become kind of a little detached from our environment, so maybe don't see so much anymore in terms of beauty. So the intention was not necessarily to write a book originally. It was just write down what was coming, what I was feeling, thinking, just put it all down and read it and play with it, what's going on. And it just naturally, let's just say it spoke to me and said, okay, put me all together, put me out there. Yeah. But the poetic thing is I don't really know what the process is, to be honest. I think it's just a natural kind of thing, I mean, I don't know if I could write a novel, My father's written a novel. I'm like, beautiful stories, great dialogues, whatever. But this is kind of my area that I enjoy so much, this kind of abstract or this condensed writing, thoughts, ideas, images.
Well, poetry seems very focused. It's moments rather than long stories or plot lines and things like that. It's very specific at times, even if it's presented in an abstract way. There's usually a point to that particular poem.
Well, I do always have an idea when I start. There is an idea and a feeling, often imagery, and then it just kind of comes together. But I don't necessarily rationalize it. Yeah, it's just coming in and writing and thinking. Often images, especially with the nature, especially here, it's just incredible. Yeah, and the native culture with it, and this country is an amazing country. The layers of history and the layers of what lies here. Just when you're out, information, not information, but the environment, atmosphere, beautiful. So I guess poetry is just this dense information package that comes in, and I'm always really happy when people read it and they say, "Oh, I have this image and this image and beauty." Yeah, I got that. We're working good then. it's working.
Yeah. I find that interesting reading poetry. That there is a focus generally on creating images in the reader's mind,
or emotions.
Emotions, but. Trying, I guess the way I would put it is like trying to get the reader to share whatever you were thinking or feeling or experiencing in that moment. And that's a hard thing. For me, I think at least.
Yeah. Don't ask me what the format is. I think it's so difficult when you ask people who do any kind of expression or art or, I love abstract art, visual. You try asking an abstract artist, Jackson Pollock or something, how did you, I don't think they can really explain. In the abstract sense, like a poem would be an abstract. I think it's very difficult to explain the process. Maybe others can, but I find it very difficult personally.
Yeah. Well, it's like trying to pinpoint exactly what went into it.
Yeah.
What were the exact inspiration, the specific feelings. It kind of seems to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm quite amazed myself sometimes. I mean, I traveled to New Zealand many, many years ago. And then I wrote a poem about a moment that I had 20 years later. We'll do that now. Yeah. So, I mean, it is a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Well, when you're revising, this is always something that I find really interesting with poets, too, because it seems like from the outside, it's not that many words. Revising shouldn't be that hard.
Yes.
Like you write it down, and sometimes there's specific structures you follow, sometimes not. And revision, in my mind, thinking about novels and short stories, it's like, what do I need to do with the characters? Are there plot holes? Are there things that are contradicting each other that I need to go back and fix? So revision in my mind is a different focus and a different process. Whereas with poetry, you're revising for much different things than you would in a story. And so I wanted to ask you about that.
Gee, when you go back, again, I think it really, because I paint as well. I'm not a super painter. I just do it for fun. I think it really is just to find the balance. It's just really a feeling of balance. It's the same with abstract painting. I think it's just a sense of, yes, you revise, you go back. Is it I really, again, I think it's just a sense of balance with the wordage, with the rhythm, intuitive feeling. Is it balanced? It's always the word that comes. Is it balanced? Even, I mean, when I was editing for the book originally, the editors wanted to make other changes. And I'm like, I know that doesn't really make sense, but that just makes sense in that context. It's balanced. It feels right. It transports some sort of message or maybe imagery, or just really, you're just down to your feeling, really, aren't you? I guess it's the same when you guys write your novels. Yes.
Yeah,
it's
there's
balanced.
definitely, you want to make sure something's happening. It's moving forward.
Yes.
There's progress.
There's no empty space. It's
putting words in for the sake of having words on a paper.
yeah, absolutely. And it really stands out if you're kind of doing the fine-tooth comb. Is it balanced? Is there any space that's empty or not making sense or not beautiful? In a language sense or in a.
Well, it's amazing how much one word can change the feeling.
It's incredible, yeah. It's funny because when we were editing the book originally, with the editors, my husband was saying, it doesn't matter, it's just one word. I'm like, it does matter. It does matter for me, it matters. Because you're kind of presenting something, and if that one can take away something or distort in a way, a sensation or anything, that has to be like that. It just really has to stay like that. Yeah. It's your baby. Yeah.
Well, and it was interesting. I went to a writing workshop a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was a mix of novelists, poets, some kind of nonfiction writers. It was a pretty varied group. And the various instructors would give different prompts, and some people would share. And toward the end of the day, then the participants could read something either from one of the workshops or, something that they'd had prepared or had been working on or whatever. And so it was really interesting to see some of the differences between that in the moment writing from whatever the prompt was to some of the more polished pieces that people brought with them for the later readings. And like as you're listening, because I think reading aloud and listening is an important part of revision and pretty much all kinds of writing.
Always. I always record myself.
Yeah.
Medicine, always. Yeah.
And so it was interesting to hear those more rough pieces. You could hear when it was like, oh, yeah, that sentence is a bit awkward, or, you know, even not knowing anything about poetry. It's like really liking the overall message, but like something's not quite flowing. And not that I'd be the one to give advice on that, but it's interesting to hear something really rough and just off the cuff from a prompt compared to the more polished stuff that we consume as, you know, as readers. Really made me think about like revision and just the importance of sometimes that one word or a phrase that's making the rest of it feel a little bit wonky because it's not fitting in with everything else.
It's like a jigsaw piece that doesn't fit. It's like, I know that you may think you would normally use that word in this context, in this situation. The other is better. It's just how it is. It's just that balance. But I always record myself reading. And I'm not super keen on reading my own, you know, aloud, but listening to yourself. But it's always good just to have that reflection, you know, so you're listening to, okay, that's it. Because it sounds completely different than if you're just reading it. So I just go into the bathroom, quietly lock the door and read for many reads. That's good, like that. Yeah,
that's one, like with dialogue, particularly a narrative. If you read it out loud, you're like, "Oh, why do they all sound like robots?" That's not what a 3-year-old sounds like. It can be very helpful.
It's true.
Well, and with yours, like you said, you mentioned the nature being part of it, and kind of the crisis. Talk about some of the other themes or the overall, you know, feeling and emotion of the poetry in the collection. Right now it feels very chaotic a lot of days.
Yes, it's the world we're in. Okay, well, the first, I'll just open it actually just to remind myself. Not that I've forgotten, but the crisis, I think, well, first of all, the theme of women is very important. I think in our world right now, I think this kind of matriarchy is super important. The idea, and we're in kind of this kind of native territory where the matriarch is very strong. I come from the Celtic culture, which is the case, but the modern Western culture is this kind of patriarch-matriarch balance is maybe, I don't know, a little in tension with itself, yeah? So for me, I never really got into feminist culture growing up. It was very much part of my environment, but I didn't choose to go down that way. But I felt the last few years the necessity to kind of write some stuff that was supportive of women. So I did write that poem, What is a Woman, inspired by the culture, the what is the woman question, yeah. I did, you know, one does not want to upset anybody, but I just felt that as a woman myself, I don't know, I think the importance of motherhood, the earth, the mother, the emphasis on motherhood full stop, needed support. I wrote a poem about women, What is a Woman, leading into confusing times, which was also a reflection of what we're going through at the moment and kind of my way of, it's all very cathartic really. Yeah, it's all kind of a process of me, myself, my observations and emotions about things and writing it down, and maybe people relate to it and say, yeah, okay. And maybe there's a remedy to it. Again, it's in the book. Family breakdown also kind of tucked in there, in a few poems. The importance of family as a solid structure in society. Yes, I came from kind of the post-60s culture in my own parents, and I think, you know, going back to, because that's very much part of the book as well, these kind of traditional family values, creating secure foundation for children growing up, clear values, and so on. So that would be kind of the intro into the first chapter of the book. We have a lot of racial issues as well in the country, not just in the country, but it's actually, I come from Ireland. It's all, it seems to be all over the place, kind of this kind of chaos. So, again, I always just refer back to spirituality, nature, God, whatever your belief system is, that you kind of refer to it as your foundation. I think a belief in, you know, your belief is important. And if you've kind of, I think maybe a lot of people have gone wayward or lost perspective on why they're even here, or, you know, why we're here, meaning. So the book itself is trying to give some sort of not guidance, but I guess guidance, yeah, or ideas, thoughts on how we can just create maybe more peace. So it is political, the first chapter. God Bless America, the last poem on that chapter is just really about the turbulence in this country at the moment, which has also become part of European. We're all kind of in turbulence.
Yeah.
So it's, yes, it is turbulent, but we're in kind of these changing times. We can do this. We just really need to find the handles to hold on to and stability. Yeah.
I think amidst the chaos right now has shown us like how connected we really are throughout the globe. And,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we kind of get in a little bit of a bubble here in the U.S.
Yes,
we generally have a lot of freedom and we have the things we need for the most part. There's, of course, communities and areas that don't. But like if you're looking at it as a country, like we can be very insulated and we can kind of shut out things going on in other places because it doesn't affect us. Yeah. But I think that's something with everything going on that it's we are all very connected and I think that's something to keep in mind. Absolutely.
And it's really interesting coming here because we've heard a lot of anti-American rhetoric over the last, a couple of decades. And we've been here for 6 years. I mean, no country's perfect, but you're doing pretty well. There's the Europeans often look to the Americans for inspiration, despite what the media may say. There's a huge amount of positive culture as well that comes from here that really inspires the English, Irish, mainland Europe. And that's often missed, yeah? It's often missed, I think, by the Americans themselves. I don't really want to get very political today, but I think the Americans as a culture have to really it's the leadership, yeah. There's such a positive attitude, a mindset, yeah, that is for us so inspirational. So yeah, to be celebrated, yeah. It's not all bad, because we're seeing this chaos, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is maybe just like a sickness that's coming out of the body of culture, yeah. And then beyond that is probably something very beautiful when that's out, whatever it is, the shadow. But I find this country very inspirational, very. Not just geographically, but the people are wonderful, yeah.
Well, maybe that's something, getting to know other cultures and other people, other belief systems. I think that there's something I love about reading and media in general, that I get to see and experience things that I wouldn't otherwise living in a small town in New Mexico.
Yeah.
But I think it really opens people up, especially, working with kids, and I teach English. Yes. So I'm always looking for materials that make them think and get them out of their little bubbles that they've been raised in, and not to change their minds or tell them anything is right or wrong, but to say, think about it from a different perspective. Absolutely. You may still 100% continue in the way that you're going and stay with your beliefs, and that's fine. But I think being able to have that understanding and compassion toward others who maybe live and believe completely different than you, we can still work together and find some commonality and work on the issues in the community. Yeah. There is a lot of wonderful things here, but as you said, there's also issues, even in our own small community.
Everywhere. But I think this is really this, if you want, spiritual detoxing, or, this shadow coming out for a better time. So we're just looking at what's already been there. Because I just see I've lived in Germany for so long. They themselves are going through a turbulent time now, since we've been here, since COVID really. It's kind of exacerbated. But in the Irish, my own culture where I grew up, it was a very traditional, quiet culture. And they themselves are going through this turbulence too, exactly the same stuff. Yeah. So I think we're all just collectively going through this kind of purification, or whatever you want to call it. But that's how it seems to be. Yeah, it's like,
this massive reassessment of everything.
Reassessment is the perfect word. It absolutely is, yeah. A reassessment of who we want to be, who we don't want to be, who do we want to be in the future, or how do we want to be.
It's kind of an interesting argument or topic or debate that comes up in psychology of are individual humans really capable of change, or is it society that changes that pressures humans to do better individually? And I don't know that there's an easy answer to that, but I think society definitely plays a big role on the individual. Absolutely. And we're seeing so many shifts and changes right now, and people really trying to figure out, like you said, who we want to be as individuals and as larger people.
Collectively,
as humans in general.
Absolutely. Well, this is kind of the, if you want, maybe, I don't know how you want to explain the spiritual cosmic influences or the Earth's natural evolution or our own natural evolution as humanity. You know? So I think because we're collectively doing it, it's obviously it's just the next step into another evolution of humanity. If we could only understand everything.
Yeah,
yes.
That'd be nice. Still a lot of answers out there to seek out and be open to.
Oh, you have to search. You have to search. That's for sure. Yeah. That's important. The search is very important.
Absolutely.
If that is your way.
Well, we are getting close to time to wrap up, but I did want to ask you before we close. We have lots of, I know, poets in this area, but I think just generally out there listening, sometimes people don't know what to do with their poetry. So if someone has been writing and has been thinking about sharing that in some way, what advice would you offer for those young poets?
Well, I myself am also a new poet, really. I see a lot of young people have a lot of their stuff online. I myself have not chosen that route. I have my website, which is a kind of a reference point online. I do have a Facebook page, but it doesn't really particularly contain the poetry. I think YouTube channels are great, but then I'm an older generation, so I think that's great. Yeah, the kids, I think, are putting everything online. Poetry slams, I love those. I would say myself, it's a new step for me too. Yeah, so I'm not really the expert at this, but I've met young people who are been to poetry slams in schools and so on, and I've said just put it out wherever, create some sort of space online and provide it for the public that way. Or I met a kid recently who'd been writing some amazing stuff. I said, just put it together in a book. Don't wait. Well, you have to obviously do what feels right. But this kind of hesitation, I'll wait till 20 years until I have my collection, or I don't know. I'd just say release everything online, or if you wish. Yeah, it's not for everybody. I personally prefer just the old style, a book, maybe a little bit online, maybe the poetry tour, which I've yet to do. Yeah, I don't know if you've been on the road with your books and stuff. Yeah. That's a beautiful way to do it. Yeah, I mean the one-to-one situation. But there are so many different routes that people can take nowadays. I mean, there's so many ways for public exposure like that. Yes, I think for me it's been the book, a website. I wanted to put a YouTube channel together with imagery and reading. I've yet to do that. Get some creative film footage and just read. And that's it, really, because it's all new for me too right now.
Well, I think it's a good start.
Yes,
awesome.
But this hesitation, I mean, I would have perhaps maybe 20 years ago been more hesitant. But I've just thought, you know what, I've had good feedback. Just send them out to sale.
Share.
Share.
Well, and as we wrap up, where can people find you online and the book and connect with you if they'd like to?
Well, the book itself is available everywhere, published by Newman Spring, so it is all everywhere online. It's available as an ebook. It's in Amazon, Apple Books, etc. You just Google it and it pops up everywhere. Locally, I have it in Amy's bookcase. Yeah, sitting there on her beautiful shelf. And I've got a website. It's janebauer.com. Bauer, and on there are a few poems to read, get an idea what they're about, and it also tells you on there where you can purchase it, and a little about myself.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and chat with me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Really enjoyed it.
Yes. Thank you very much.